Today, I'm talking about one of my all-time favorite topics and my favorite thing to teach people because of just the power in what it gives you to understand yourself, your motivation, your behaviors, and also that of your clients. So I'm really excited about this. We're talking about understanding values and the role they play in motivation. Now, values is a very, very interesting topic. And one of the most common asked questions in the space of coaching is, how do I get motivated and stay motivated to achieve my goals? And it's a really interesting topic. And the thing I find interesting is I've come across different ways people talk about values. And I've been in situations where people say, okay, we're going to look at what your values are, and they'll have a page of words that are all sort of aspirational words, and they say pick out 5 of these or 10 of these, and they're your values. Now, as I said, they are aspirational values, so they're the nice things, they're the things that you would aspire to have. They don't necessarily mean that they are the things that actually motivate you. Okay. They're not actually the things that probably are intrinsically motivating you. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And in fact, I'm going to be talking about this over 2 episodes because it's such a big topic. And, when I teach values at NLP Master Practitioner Training, I teach over 2 full days, right? 2 full days of content around values because it's really a deep topic. However, I'm going to be giving you the chunked up version, and still that's going to happen over 2 episodes. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the values levels of thinking, and this is based on the work of Dr. Claire Graves, who did a lot of his work off the back of what Abraham Maslow was doing back in like the 1940s, I think it was, and really looking at how people's environment had an effect on their neurology and essentially their values levels of thinking. And so, this is a big question, right? People want to know. And I know working with coaches and practitioners and therapists, they they have this ongoing problem with clients where they say, okay, I tell them what they need to do, but they just don't do it. Okay, they're just not motivated to do the thing that they need to do to get results. So how do we motivate them? And because the truth is that most people, including you, know what they should be doing, right? They know what they should be doing to get the results that they want. Like in health, for example, most people know that drinking at least 2 liters of clean filtered water a day, sleeping 7 to 8 hours each night, eating fresh, healthy whole foods, exercising daily, stretching, doing weights, avoiding drugs and alcohol and excess sugar, fast foods. If you do all those things, it will result in good health, right? People know that. But how many people do it? Well, I can tell you who does it. The people who value health do it. And you can see, right? You can see who values health. You can see who has health in their top values because they'll look healthy, right? They'll be fit. They will be eating well. They'll be hydrated. They'll be active people. Okay, so you can see it's in their values. If it comes to relationships, right? Most people know that in relationships, it's important to be honest and authentic and vulnerable and attentive and supportive, and to clearly express, our wants and desires and our own values, the things that are important to us, and our boundaries. But how many people actually do that? Well, I can tell you the people who do it. It's the people who've got good relationships, and you can see they have good relationships because relationships is important to them. They make sure they do the things that result in having good relationships, right? It's the same as business. Most people in business know that to succeed in business, you've got to have systems and processes in place for things like marketing and sales and the delivery of your product or service and your admin, right? You need to know your numbers and understand tax and insurance and profitability. and, whatever other industry specific requirements that you have. But does it mean that everybody does all these things? Well, no. Who does? Well, the people you see that are running highly successful, profitable businesses, they highly value all of these things. So they're motivated to create them. Okay, so people have different values in different contexts of their lives. So some people might be doing really well in business, but not so good in their relationships, or they're doing really well in health, but not so good in their relationships, or whatever it might be. Different areas. You've got more than 3 areas of life. I've just used these 3 common ones, right? So the thing that sits underneath the decision to do or not do the things that are going to be a benefit to us or even a detriment to us, okay? Because some people are motivated to do things that are a detriment to them, okay? And we know that there's behaviors that people have that don't benefit them, but there's a motivation there. They keep doing them. And all of this motivation, whether it's doing the things that you know that you are going to get the results you want, or whether you're not doing the things, it all comes down to our values. The values, our individual values, are where our motivation lies. And so across this episode and the next, I'm going to be talking about values from 2 different perspectives. And like I said, when I teach NLP Master Practitioner, it takes 2 full days, right, to teach this content. So, of course, this is going to be a chunked up version, right? This isn't going to be the whole story shebang about values. There's a whole lot more to it. But I'm going to give you a version where you're at least going to understand what values are and how they affect our behavior. So this episode, I'm going to be talking about, values levels of thinking based on the work of Dr. Claire Graves. And, like I said, he was inspired by the work of Abraham Maslow and the hierarchy of human needs, but he went a bit further and looked at, okay, what's the effect the immediate environment has on a person's thinking and behavior and essentially their motivation. And so this is what we're going to be talking about. This is looking at values levels, thinking from a person's, what's required by the person's environment. What environment are they in, will determine their values levels of thinking. And it's important for us to understand this both for ourselves, for our own motivation and behaviors, but also when we're working with clients so that we can help them from the level of thinking that they are at, okay? Because that's how we're going to have the most effective results. Okay, so as we go into this, I'm going to be talking about values levels as labeled values 1 to values 7. This is where I'm going to go through in fairly short form. But it's important to know that no one is a certain values level, right? This system isn't for labeling people, as no one is one specific values level. And people can have access to the characteristics of several different values levels at any given time. And it's not a hierarchy of who's better or worse. It comes down to what environment are you in and what is the thinking that's most effective for you to survive, essentially, in the environment that you're in. Now, people can also change the values levels thinking that they think from in different contexts, okay? So they might have different values levels thinking for at home with their extended family to where they are at work, right? They can have different values levels of thinking when they're under stress, okay? Or stress could be because there's different situations happening or because they're in a different environment that causes stress, okay? And when I talk about stress, we think about your neurology. Your neurology responds to stress all the time, okay? And the values levels of thinking will develop according to the stresses of your environment, okay? So that you have the best neurology to suit that environment, okay? What do you need for that environment? So as I said, we're going to go through from values 1 to 7 in fairly short form, but just to give you a bit of an overview of what is all of this values level stuff about. All right, so we're going to start at values level 1. And values level 1 is really about survival. You won't see much of this in general population. Okay, there's not much of this that exists in the world today. It's very primitive, it's instinctual, it's has very low social requirement, and it's more based on physical safety, food, and reproducing. All right, so maybe there might be people living on the street that can exhibit some of these characteristics, or maybe there might be some people in the deep Amazon forest jungle somewhere, but generally we wouldn't see it. It's very instinctual, it's very just survival based. All right, but then the next value level we start to see more of, and this is values level 2. And values level 2 thinking is where tribes are formed. Okay, so where tribes are formed. It's the next level up where values level 1 becomes aware that they can be more successful at surviving if they band together with others. Okay, so in this tribe, in this clan or tribe, there is a chief or there's a leader, and in some form that the tribe answers to. This is also the tribal level, this values level 2 is also where like lucky charms and mystical powers are revered. Okay, so if you've ever had a lucky charm, that is values level 2 thinking. If you've ever given your car a name, right, that's values level 2 thinking. All right, in modern day, we can see this replicated as families who are ruled by a patriarch or a matriarch that everyone answers to and seeks advice from. Okay, you can see this happening throughout the world, right, in today's environment. But then at some point in time, the values level 2 thinking, a person gets a bit jack of answering to the chief and the tribe and wants to make their own rules. And this is where values level 3 thinking emerges. Okay, so they become more egocentric, and although they can be quite high energy and charismatic and charming and loyal, they are also the rule breakers. Okay, these are the bad boys. Can be bad girls as well, right? They'll happily use physical violence to exert their might, and they'll have a great fear of being controlled by anyone. Right? They love fame, and they don't mind if that fame is from being infamous. Right? They're a law unto themselves. Commonly, these people can end up in jail, fined, or at odds with others due to their behavior and lack of empathy. Okay, these people have a lot of rage and shame and can be real hotheads